Welcome to Conversation with Community Leader, brought to you by Leadership-Kitsap Foundation. I'm Dave Walters. Today I'm going to meet with Charlie Thompson, Executive Director of the Fishline in Paulsville. Welcome, Charlie.
Thank you, Dave.
It's nice to have you here. So Fishline has a long history in our community, since 1967 I saw, which is amazing. And you've got this great tagline on your website, way more than a food bank.
That's
so
right.
so I'm super excited to dive into that and learn more about Fishline. But before we do, let's talk about you.
Sure.
So I know you're not native to Kitsap County, so where are you from?
Sure, that's true. I actually just moved to Kitsap about 6.5 months ago. I'm from Minnesota originally. Went away to college and spent some time bouncing around the Midwest for many years before finding my way to the Pacific Northwest. I met my wife, Kim, in the Portland area. So that was fortuitous. And actually, that brought us back to the Midwest, the University of Notre Dame, where she went to grad school. And that's where I first landed my first nonprofit gig.
Oh, and what was that?
Society of St. Vincent de Paul.
Oh, okay.
A Catholic organization. Doing a lot of similar work as Fishline does.
Yeah, they're very active in Kitsap County.
They sure are. I've had a chance to interact with them. Great organization. But started in South Bend, Indiana with them, and then transferred within St. Vincent de Paul to Tacoma. Spent a few years there before my home state of Minnesota came calling, and spent the last 6 years there. And now I think we're back in the Pacific Northwest.
So all with St. Vincent de Paul?
That was a different organization called Neighbors, Inc.
Neighbors, Inc., okay.
Based out of a southern suburb of St. Paul, Minneapolis.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow, and then you've been with Fishline?
About 7 months now.
About 7 months now.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So it's been, I feel well prepared, having worked with organizations that are in the food business, in the retail thrift store business, financial assistance for folks, all things that we do at Fishline.
How did you first decide to do nonprofits? When back when you were in when your wife was at Notre Dame, when you were in Indiana.
It was really a point in my life where when we moved from Portland to South Bend, I was kind of in the midst of trying to figure out what's next for my career. And I happened to be, just to back up a little bit, we got married at the downtown chapel of St. Vincent de Paul in Portland.
Oh, okay.
And that was kind of interesting with St. Vincent de Paul. And then when I went to South Bend, I was looking for things to do in the community to get connected, and came across St. Vincent de Paul.
Oh, outstanding.
And was hired there about a month or so into our move out there. And about 18 months later, I was hired as the executive director.
Oh, outstanding.
So yeah, and the rest is history, as they say. About going on 16 years now. Yeah.
So why did you choose North Kitsap?
When we were in Tacoma, we had an opportunity to visit out here. And first of all, so we were familiar with it. We knew that. But I was looking for an opportunity to bring the family back to the Pacific Northwest and looking at the greater kind of Seattle, Tacoma area. And North Kitsap Fishline.
Timing just worked out perfect.
The time worked out really well, and I'm so glad it did.
Oh, great. So yeah, I do want to dive into Fishline, and its title is just Fishline.
Yeah, it's gone over the years, North Kitsap Fishline. We tend to refer to it as Fishline.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure.
Yeah, Fishline's fine.
I want to make sure I'm representing you well.
Yep.
So tell us about your organization, because literally the tagline, way more than a food bank. It was amazing when I looked at the list of things that you guys do.
Sure. Well, we are a hub for resources throughout North Kitsap and really even beyond, because we have people coming for food beyond the North Kitsap borders, if you will. But yes, so I'll start with food, because that's really what we've been known for over the decades that we've been serving. We operate a healthy food market where folks can come in once a week to get food for their family. We offer fresh produce. We have meat. We have canned goods. We have bakery. We have stuff for cooking from scratch. In fact, that's been one of the priorities that I've tried to raise, is the need to make sure we have the right components so people can choose to cook from scratch.
Oh, that's a great
rather
vision.
than-
That's a good. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Because often, what people get is processed foods
Right.
and such, and so we want to give them the opportunity to be able to make things from scratch, along with the fresh produce. Those are two of our really important things. And we have non-food items. So we have various hygiene products, toiletries and such that are really important to folks as well. And often people don't realize that until they get there. But again, once a month, if people show up and they need food, we're going to make sure they get food.
And then what are the hours for your food store?
Sure. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're open from 11 to 4 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're open from 10 a.m. until 7 p.m.
Oh wow, 5 days a week.
Yep, so 5
with
days a
two
week.
staggered times. That's great.
Yep. In fact, it was back in August we actually expanded our hours for accessing the food bank because the need has just been tremendous, and it continues to go up, and we expect it will as the year continues to go on. So in addition to food, we offer a number of other items. One of our newer programs is our shower program. So people who don't have access to
And
water.
that's relatively new, right? That's just
It
been
is.
the last year or
About
two?
a year or so.
Yeah.
Yep. So we have, it's basically like an RV shower unit, if you will, where we have a couple of different stalls, and mainly it's people who are experiencing homelessness, or if they don't have access to water for any other reason, they can come to us, and we're open 2 days a week for that. And I will say our website has a wealth of information because there's a lot of different hours.
It does. I plugged through it a lot this week.
Yeah. There's a lot of different hours for different programs. So fishlinehelps.org. I would encourage your viewers to visit our website to get all the details. But so we have our shower program. We also have case management. So our case managers, they're the ones that are really sitting down and doing a deep dive with folks, looking at their situation, looking at their budget, trying to help them make their situation sustainable. And we'll help out. We'll help out with rent. We'll help out with utilities, especially if you're getting shut-off notices. We'll help with that. We'll help with any number of other items, especially through our children's programs. We'll help pay for school supplies if needed. We'll help pay for activity fees, athletic fees.
Outstanding. 'Cause that's really important to the development of kids,
Absolutely.
especially young women.
Oh, absolutely. We want children to experience childhood,
Wow, that's
that's
awesome.
And that means making sure that they have access to those programs, whether it's through their school or through their Parks and Rec program, that not being able to pay for it shouldn't be an excuse. And Fishline's there to help with that.
That's outstanding. And it looks like you partner with other organizations as well.
We do.
Your caseworkers, it looked like had lots of other, they've got the whole menu of what's available in Kitsap County to them.
Yep. Not only what's available in Kitsap County, but at our main location in Paulsbo, we have a number of on-site partners.
Oh,
so
wow.
We have people referred to us from partners, and we refer people to other partners right there on site. But you're absolutely right. Throughout the county, we're trying to connect that web of support so that people can get what they need.
Which I really, when you think about it, it's like, wow, that's, nothing stovepiped. Everything is, that web that you talked about.
That's right.
Really makes all the organizations super effective when they can partner with each other.
Well, and one of the things that's important to us is when somebody presents and they're asking for help, that we're listening to them. What do they need? What is their situation? We don't come in with some prepackaged, do this, do that. No, it's taking the time to listen and then work with them to figure out how do we best assist in this situation.
Because everyone's, I'm assuming, right, is at a different spot.
Yep.
With
Absolutely.
kids, without kids.
Yep.
Different situations. So.
Absolutely.
How many employees do you have, and then how many volunteers do you have?
Sure. So we have 16 employees, give or take. That there's some flexibility there, but roughly 16 employees. That includes folks, our case managers, people working in our market, people working on our fundraising and development. As you can imagine, that's a big part of what we do is raising the resources. Volunteer management, and then we also have a second season thrift store, which employs a couple managers and some part-time cashiers.
And is that located in where is that located?
Sure, it's in Paulsbo Village. off
Okay.
of off the highway there that goes through Paulsbo. So we're open Monday through Saturday from 10 until 5 at Second
Is
Season.
your whole operation there, or just the
So that's
store?
just the store
Okay.
at that location. We're offering everything from boutique style items. It could be antiques. It could be higher end vintage clothing to just regular run of the mill thrift store clothing, if you will, housewares, collectibles, a variety of different items through our thrift store.
So you talked about referrals. How else do you get clients? Is that
Yep, clients.
for
Yep,
clients?
yep, clients.
How do they come to you?
Sure. Well, a lot of word of mouth.
Okay.
And you really highlight something really important, and that is we're trying to really put our efforts into communicating to people who need help that we're here to help them. Often when you think about marketing and communications, you're talking to resources, and that is volunteers,
Right,
that's
right.
fundraising, and so on. But we're really trying to raise the bar and communicating with the community that we are here to help. In fact, one of the things that I like to let people know is, if in doubt, contact us.
Oh, fantastic.
Don't select out. Don't think, oh no, it's not for me. I make too much money, or I do this. If you need help, contact us. One of the things that we recognize is people work really hard. And when that's not enough, we want them to call Fishline, because that's what we're here for.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
That is good. And then, so what's your organization's biggest challenge? What do you get? What's
Sure.
And really, the economy has got to be, with inflation right now, and things really are. I mean,
Yep.
just your grocery bill is more expensive these days.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, you nailed it. One, the need just keeps increasing. When I first got here back in February, we were seeing maybe 600 households or so, unique households a month. Some of them come multiple times a month, but 600 unique households. This past August, we saw over 850 unique households in that month. And the trends don't seem to be getting any better.
Oh wow, 30% increase.
Yeah,
Wow.
we're seeing massive increase, and 40% and more year over year if we look back a year ago. So and for any number of reasons, the economy, inflation, cost of living on Kitsap,
Right.
housing in particular is a big driver of that. These are all reasons why people are seeking us out. I'd like to also think we're doing a better job of getting the word out.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Letting people
absolutely.
know what we're here to help them with. Again, that's a huge part of what we do. So all of these things are contributing to a higher need, which means we need more resources to meet that need.
Right.
So that's a challenge.
So how does a person become one of your caseworkers or really one of your volunteers?
Sure. So I would encourage folks, if they were interested in volunteering, go to our website, fishlinehelps.org, and there's a nice drop-down menu where people can click on volunteering. It'll give them a lot of information on what they can do. In fact, they can access our application and other things right from the website. Colin Kind is our volunteer manager.
Okay.
He will do a great job of following up and getting you plugged in where your schedule allows, but also where the needs are.
And I know communities across the state of Washington, but ours in particular, because that's the one we mostly care about, are struggling with social workers and getting enough social workers.
Yeah.
Are you fully staffed? Is staffing a problem for really trained, certified people?
Sure, it's a great question. We are currently fully staffed. I'm very grateful for that, and hopefully we'll stay that way. I know some of our partner organizations, I'm not going to name names,
Right.
but I know that they've communicated with us some of their struggles with staffing and such. So it is real for sure, and we're doing our part to really stay fully staffed. But that's also another challenge is, we talk about wages keeping up with housing costs
Right.
and everything. Well, that's true for nonprofits who are hiring folks too.
Oh, yeah,
trying to make sure that we are compensating at a level that retains our employees and such. So that's top of mind as well.
Okay, so we talked about how can the community donate? So how do I donate food? How do I donate clothing?
Sure.
How do I donate cash? I know that's probably the easiest one.
Yep. Well, you nailed it. You know, we need dollars, we need food, we need clothing and other gently used items for our thrift store. We need volunteers. You know, those are all ways people can give back and donate. You know, end of year, big time that we're pushing for those fundraising dollars. You know, year-end giving is huge. People are probably going to hear from us a lot more in these months of November and December, you know, because there's a lot of need out there. So, you know, giving financially what you can is always appreciated. For some, maybe giving their time is a little bit easier to do, and that's where volunteering comes in. And, you know, I have yet to have my team come to me and say, nope, we're full with volunteers. We don't need any more. No, we are always
You can always
looking,
find a spot.
we are always looking for volunteers. So, you know, we have anywhere from probably 150 to 200 volunteers in any given month. And that fluctuates throughout the year.
That's a great
So,
number.
Yeah.
So, you know, you talked about the major increase this year on just the number of families or households you've had to serve. What's that going to look like for the holidays coming up?
Yeah.
Right, because that's your big time, right?
Yep.
That's when kind of it more clients. Is clients the right word? I want to make
Clients,
I want,
yes.
I want to make sure I'm
Yep,
using the
yep,
respectful word
yep,
that we want.
Absolutely. No, thank you. That's right.
You know, it's got to increase during the holiday season because the holiday season is tough on families.
It typically does. You know, we all know that we have additional financial obligations in November and December, whether that's putting on a feast for a family or buying presents to put under the tree. You know, there's just so many things that kind of come up at this time of year. And every family wants to provide that. You know,
Yes.
It doesn't matter what their situation is. And again, you know, when we go into the week of Thanksgiving, you know, we've got 3 straight days where we will be solid with folks coming and shopping in our food market. It happens every year. We anticipate it'll happen again this year. So even though it's a 3-day week, we will probably serve as many people in those 3 days as we would in a typical 5-day week.
Okay.
The other thing that we have is our holiday giving program. And it's,
I want to make sure we talk about
yeah,
that.
yeah. So it's gifts for kids, you know. And this year, you know, what we're doing is parents in need. They'll come in, they'll apply for assistance, and then they'll receive what we call our holiday bucks. And it's basically vouchers, if you will. They look like money, and they're accepted at various locations throughout the greater Paulsbo area. We're really grateful for our partners in the community, the small businesses that participate with us, that accept those forms of payment.
Wow, that's really great.
And then you know, and then our efforts are to raise money then to reimburse them for those holiday bucks that they accept. But it's a way to not only help families in need, but it also helps drive the local economy. So because they're buying the items through local businesses. So huge program, and we look forward to you know, kicking that off in the coming days.
Oh, excellent. So as you talk about, you know, end of the year and people are going to start spending lots of money, right? We got holiday spending, we got family travel, all kinds of things that people are spending their money on. And then when it comes time to, you know, I'm going to donate my dollars, you know, whatever, you know, according to my means. How do you recommend people do that, right? Because there's a million places out there, right?
Sure.
There's lots of places.
Sure.
Do I spread it out? Do I go, hey, you know, I live in CK, therefore I'm going to, how do you recommend people do that?
Sure. Well, I mean, I guess I'm a little selfish. I'm going to recommend you go to Fishline.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, having said that, you know, look at what your values are. You know, as a family, as a business, where do your values lie? Where do you reside? How can you make the most impact, you know, within your community? So if that's Paulsbo, certainly Fishline is hopefully an obvious choice. But you know, if it's other parts of Kitsap, there are many other food banks. There are many other nonprofits that are all needing and deserving of financial support to carry on their mission. So follow your values, follow where your community is.
That's great advice for our listeners. That's really good. And you know, I personally, at least for me, I have 3 sons, and we try to, you're not supposed to brag or boast about your giving because then it doesn't count. But I try to make sure that the boys at least see what we're doing and where it's going.
Yeah.
And because I want to be a good example of really, because that's how to be a good citizen in your community. And I think teaching our kids how to do that, and then they'll emulate that, and we'll eventually we'll never get all the problems solved, but darn it, we'll whack-a-mole and get a few things done.
We do what we can do each and every day. And I'll tell you what, and any of your viewers out there, I'd say, if you ever want to see what your dollars are doing, I'm happy to give you a tour of Fishline. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So leadership.
Yeah.
Let's talk about leadership. So you've been a leader in nonprofits your whole career.
Yes. Yes.
What advice do you give emerging leaders that want to get into nonprofits or want a career like yours?
Sure. One of the things when I was first starting out, it was a real focus on the idea of servant leadership. Still, people talk about servant leadership to this day. They have for forever.
There's a billion books on it.
Yep. And it's important. I really like the concept of really supporting your team, however you define your team, so that they can be successful. One of the things I've learned, though, is you also have to serve yourself. Because if you don't do things to take care of yourself, you won't be able to serve and support others. So that's one of the things that I've been really looking at is I have to be able to manage myself in a way that promotes good habits, whether that's getting a good night's sleep or exercising or showing up. Showing up is so important. You don't get to decide, oh, today's going to be a rough day, I think I'll take it off. No, you have to show up. So, you want to support others, but you have to support yourself. You need to show up in good times and bad. And, just be present. One of the things I really try to do is, there's times when I'm working in the office and I'm working on my own and I'm, whether that's financial reporting or whatnot. But I put in my schedule a reminder to get out and walk around, and make sure that you're keeping a pulse on what's going on around you. You need to stay connected to the mission and the work of the mission. And that's where the volunteers and the clients and the other staff members are. And it's important to get out and interact and don't get walled off, in your office. So those are a few tidbits that I guess I would take away.
A leadership book that you would recommend for folks?
I've read a lot of books. I think it's important to read.
Part of that taking care of yourself?
That's part of
self-development?
Yep, absolutely. I read this book called Traction by Gino Wickman a few years back. And it's actually, they've developed a whole series of books around it. And it's about developing your own operating system for your organization. And it talks about how you as the leader, talks a lot about delegating, talks a lot about making sure the right people in the right seats. Some of that harkens back to good to great, and so it's just a really good framework that I've been working with my leadership team on implementing at Fishline as a way to operate Fishline and hopefully find efficiencies, but also, we're always growing. We need to always stay motivated, stay flexible in what we do, and this series of books that I've been looking at has been helpful.
Outstanding. So I'd like to thank you for all the amazing things your organization does for our community. Wow, it's just, the list just kept going and going and going. As I was researching it, just kept, wow, they do that too, they do that, they do that. So that's outstanding. I'd like to thank you for that in our community, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely, thank you, Dave.
And people will hopefully remember to you during the holiday seasons where it's really needed.
Absolutely.
So please visit Fishline at fishlinehelps.org and leadershipkidsap.org to find out a lot about both of these awesome organizations. I look forward to the next show where we have a conversation with a community leader.